Good morning, children. Today we are going to study once again the story The Sound Machine, written by Roald Dahl. As you know, that Klausner was busy with his experimentation when he suddenly heard footsteps on the gravel path outside, and he straightened and turned swiftly as the door opened and a tall man came in. It was Scott. It was only Scott, the doctor. Klausner's thoughts were suddenly interrupted by the sound of footsteps outside the shed, causing him to nervously stop working and turn to the door. He seems relieved to find that it was Scott, the local doctor. The doctor greets Klausner saying, "So, this is where you hide yourself in the evenings." He says that he couldn't find Klausner in the house, so he ventured back to the shed. The doctor asks about the condition of Klausner's throat and also wants to take a look at it. But Klausner tersely dismisses his sore throat as quite cured and tells the doctor not to go through the trouble. The nervousness Klausner exhibits upon having his work interrupted expounds that his reaction differs from a typical break of concentration, making the man seem suspiciously paranoid and somewhat eccentric. The writer's use of the word "only Scott" clearly reveals that Klausner was relieved to find that it was Scott. Nonetheless, Klausner still seems to bristle at the affable doctor's presence. He's so absorbed in his invention that he tries to brush off his concern for Klausner's health. It becomes apparent that he would prefer to be left alone with the machine he's working on. He's not happy with the intrusion actually. The doctor takes note of both the tense atmosphere in the room and Klausner's preoccupied nature, notifying him that he's still wearing a hat, even though he's indoors. "You have got your hat on." "Oh, have I?" Klausner reached up, removed the hat, and put it on the bench. Now the point is whether Klausner is eccentric. Historically, scientists have not had the best reputation for being sane. In books and movies, they are generally depicted as eccentric recluses with pale skin and bespectacled eyes. They spend most of the time in laboratory, indulging in experiments. Since Aeschylus, an ancient Greek tragedian, science and technology have been bound to madness. When Prometheus rebels against Zeus, steals the fire that makes all skills attainable from the gods and gives it to the humans, together with tools, technical and scientific, knowledge, language and reason itself, he is mentally strained, robbed of his wits. Any scientific discovery brings about a revolution. Discoverers challenge the normal paradigm of belief. From Prometheus to Dr. Faustus, Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Moreau, Dr. West have one thing in common. They all challenge some sort of law. They break the rules of established paradigms. Their discovery is never recognized immediately as they defy the natural laws and the existing beliefs. The scientists are enabled to perceive an alternate reality, which we commoners fail to fathom. Hence, their obsession and madness is a prerequisite component for leading towards a scientific breakthrough. Their madness helps them to violate institutional protocols, change certain beliefs, which we thought was unbendable. The doctor asks if Klausner is making a radio. "What's this?" He said. "Making a radio?" "No, just fooling around. It's got rather complicated looking inwards." "Yes." Klausner seemed tense and distracted. Klausner claims that the machine is just an idea that has to do with sound. The doctor seems incredulous. Klausner simply replies, "I like sound." The doctor makes an effort to leave, but just lingers by the door, curious about his strange patient and the remarkable complexity of the machine. Klausner's diffidence appears to have the opposite of its intended effect. Instead of getting the doctor to leave, Klausner's vague answers stimulates the doctor's curiosity. He asks Klausner what the machine's true purpose is, adding, you have made me inquisitive. Klausner looked down at the box, then at the doctor, and he reached up and began gently to scratch the lobe of his right ear. There was a pause. The doctor stood by the door, waiting, smiling. Klausner's initial standoffishness fades away as he is overtaken by the urge to discuss his research, demonstrating how passionate he is about sound. This is also clear from the romantic way he conceives of sound. To him, a sound is more like a poetic note than a mere vibration.